Good evening, this is Pine Leaf Needles, and welcome to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO, and here at LOTRO Players. And tonight we have with us Draculetta from Transylvania,
Greetings, everyone.
Ethelrose from Wales,
Hi.
Don't sound so enthused.
yes,
I thought you had lemonade. It's all gone now, so I'm sad again.
oh well, Braxwolf from the Woods,
Hello, everybody.
Lily Kate, our Londoner in Rome,
Hello, everybody.
and Andang of the Moors of Oklahoma.
Hey, everybody.
And tonight's top story is Ent Play.
Hey, what are you doing? No, you can't be in here. Get out of here. Hey, don't do that. Oh!
Hey everyone, it's Chris from MMO and LOTRO Reporter here. In honor of the recent announcement by executive producer Aaron Rowan Campbell that there would soon be Ent Play in The Lord of the Rings Online, I thought that I would take this opportunity to do two things. First, I told you so. Second, here are my favorite clips where I have asked Aaron and also Rick Sapiens Heaton about their thoughts on adding Ent Play to the game. Aaron, Ent Play, is it coming?
Ent Play is absolutely coming just for you, Chris. Only for you.
Let's start with the first one. Secret hidden features of Riders of Rohan. Ent Play.
I think we
already.
For everyone. No,
Ent
for
Play
everyone.
for everyone.
For everyone.
Chicken in every pot.
Okay, I'm gonna take that as a only for me.
Okay.
So your turn, Bill.
Oh, what happened?
Who was that guy?
Yeah, who was that
Head
masked
hurts.
man? Yes, and that is to announce that, yes, executive producer Aaron Campbell has posted a letter telling us about some of the highlights upcoming in Update 13, and part of that will be within the Epic. There will be an optional session play where you can play an Ent.
I told you so.
You can't hear that phrase without thinking about that now.
Right.
That phrase, yeah.
He called that a long time ago.
What phrase is that, Chris?
Ent Play, I told you so.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Yes. Now, just in case you wanted to know, is that since this will be part of the Epic book, it means you have to have access to the Epic, and since the Epic for Book 13 is starting, of course, where the last one left off, which is in a special version of Helm's Deep that you only reach by finishing the previous book, it means it's part of the package that you paid for with buying the expansion.
Which, I mean, it makes sense because, why would you be allowed to when you haven't been able to, but, when you haven't been able to do the previous part of the book. But at the same time, that's kind of it's another book that players can't have unless they buy the expansion.
Well, fortunately, the next thing is going to start with Volume 4, and the long tradition of switching to volumes is it starts in a completely new place. So I'm guessing that the next then it will start with what?
Let's hope so.
Yeah, let's hope so, right. Very well. Second thing that is mentioned is, of course, there will be a change in North Downs, which is the largest one of the updates. There are 3 revamps coming, but the most massive of the revamps will be the North Downs. We'll also be getting Fanghorn Forest, which is going to be that sliver of new landscape that they hinted at earlier, and where you get to help Quick Beam.
This is like the 4th part of Fangorn we've been to now.
Yes, we've been to several parts of Fanghorn all over the place. The 4th bit of it, or Or maybe the 5th, because
Edge
Another
of Fangorn.
yeah, we've been
Is-
into so many edges of Fangorn. We've been through just about every edge that Fangorn could possibly have there. And they announced the new VIP perk that is coming with Update 13, and that is that VIPs will be allowed to open mail while in the wilderness.
I didn't ask for it.
Did anybody ask for this?
Does anybody actually want it?
If I was VIP, I wouldn't mind it.
Mm,
Being VIP, I'd much rather go to the mailbox than have a notification on my screen constantly telling me that hey, there's mail.
Yes, but you always get
Well,
one
you
anyway.
get that anyway.
I know, but it's annoying. You need to remove that too.
Then you might as
like
well
the
get rid of it
mailbox.
by checking your mail.
But it shouldn't be there on my screen. I
That's more
check my
problem with
mailbox
the-
religiously, Pineleaf. I don't need to be reminded about it.
You check your mailbox religiously. Well, I always had trouble finding mailboxes, and I sometimes been wandering through town saying, okay, now where is this mailbox? So it wouldn't hurt in those times.
Well, if you're in the
I don't
town, you
know where
already
they're at.
walked past the mailbox, Pineleaf.
Clearly, if you're looking
There's
for a
your
mail,
problem.
clearly, I mean, evidently, if you're looking for a mailbox, you should just pray to it. It's just funny how Andang does it.
Yeah. What
That
they
makes
should
sense.
do, yes, what they should do is that whenever you click on the thing to open it, they should have a postal worker come up to you and hand you your letter.
Oh yeah, and then the Hobbit could give you a present at the same time.
Yes. Of
How would
course.
that work if you like?
Just make it be a hobbit and deliver it both.
I mean, how would that work if you're like standing on top of a tower or like at the peak of a mountain? Are they going to walk across the air to get to you?
Well, they're very good climbers, apparently. You know, those
You know
postal
what?
workers.
You know what NPC pathing is like.
Well, you do have a point with that. All right. Our second story today is that there is a warning that if you have Pando Media Booster still installed on your system, remove it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I had it gone because I remembered uninstalling it a while ago, but somehow it actually made it back onto my computer. So I uninstalled it again. I recommend everyone make sure, even if you think it for sure it's uninstalled, check, make sure, because it can mess up your computer otherwise.
Well, I saw
Exactly.
nothing
It
called.
was the same for me too. I had it on there and I had no idea.
Okay. Is it called Pando Media Booster in your admin
It is on
program
mine.
here?
Yep, just search for it in
Okay.
your control panel, and if it's not there,
Well-
then you're fine.
Okay, because I searched for it, I couldn't see anything by that name, and I checked 5 other names also, just in case. All right. And that is because apparently there's some sort of problem with it.
It seems like somebody else hijacked it and started inserting spyware via the update tool for Pando. I don't know exactly
Yeah,
the
Yeah.
details.
because the company's been like dead for a while, as far as I know.
And another
Alright.
thing to note about this is I don't believe Pando was ever used if you installed via Steam.
Yeah, it isn't. I
That's
don't
correct.
think. They have a different client now, though.
Yes, but Steam was before. Yes, but Steam came later in supporting LOTRO, so many of the older folks in playing it have
Mm-hmm.
used Pando at some point.
And I checked again, and the Bull Roar client still wants to install Pando.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's
They need
bad.
to move that to Happy Cloud too.
So yeah, I would definitely recommend not installing Bull Roar right now.
All right.
If
Very
someone
well.
wants
You are
to say
then.
Happy Cloud, no matter like what, that's like his word of the century now.
His word of the century.
It's a nice name. It just makes you feel good to say it. That's all I'm saying.
Very well. And let's then go on to our developer snippets.
Oh yeah,
First
that's
off-
a thing.
Yes. Sapiens, yes. Sapiens has a few things that he mentioned during his stream. The first is that part of the inventory changes will allow players to merge their bags into one. That, I guess, is logical, seeing that he was saying that you'll be able to size them any way you want in an earlier stream.
Mm-hmm.
And the second is, of course, is that the Misty and Troll Shawls revamps are on track, but they're not as much of a scale as North Downs, which is something we figured from earlier things they've said.
Actually, that is something I was wondering, because if I remember correctly, what they said before is that the North Downs would be less in the scale than the other two.
I don't think they said that. I think they said that the biggest problem. Oh, you might have. That's right. We might have thought that because all they were changing the flow or something like this, but they were getting fewer new quests probably. So it looks like the others are getting new quests, but aren't changing their flow all that much, while North Downs is getting a massive change in flow. That's my guess, at least.
I
And you know
would
how.
have thought that making quests would be more challenging in terms of coding and all that stuff than just re-leveling things.
Well, it's not just a re-leveling, it's the fact that most of the North Downs quests have a rather very funny flow to them.
Mm.
In that you say,
I know, I
let's
just
do
kind of... I don't know, I just always kind of figured that Troll Hills and Misty Mountains just always needed more work than the North Downs did.
Well, we'll see what they think when they put up Bull Roarer, which, if Ending's prediction is correct, is going to be in about next week. Is I think what his guess was, right?
Well, as long as it's going to be in March.
Yes,
But suppose you want to bet on that.
Nope. No bets.
Well,
Keep all my money anyway.
yes.
Just take it now. Don't make a bet.
And of course, I had gotten the date of Sapience's vacation fouled up in my brain. It's March 28th when he goes on vacation, not February 28th. So therefore, he would want to have it out well in time so that he could support for a couple of days, I think, after the update is out.
Mm-hmm.
Very well, and okay, Made of Lions has something. What's this non-Jinja?
Because he's pretty much just Ginger being a developer posting at the moment.
Right. Okay, Made of Lions said that the Ent session play will be optional.
Wait, what was that, finally?
That the new session play will be optional.
Oh, I thought you said in session play.
I told you so.
And the rest of the posts by developers were by Jinja. Apparently, most of the other developers that are still at Turbine are very busy working on Update 13 and don't have time to post at the moment. And he was talking about the Moors, of course, and he says that the new creep damage type Orc Craft and Felrot will now properly pass through physical mitigation. He says murder holes in TA will now do damage based on % max morale instead of a fixed amount. I didn't know that there were murder holes in TA.
Yes, when you go into the gate, there are places where arrows shoot out.
Okay. Are they put in by Are they manned by NPCs or by?
It's a quest you can do to get to a certain amount of, I can't remember what it is, but they just shoot out automatically. There's no NPCs or anything.
Okay, very well. Core creep virtues, the stats shown on the squares of every creep starts with, will be adjusted after not being updated since the game launched.
That was something Ginger actually said, so not my words.
Yeah, so therefore, it's been a long time since those were updated, obviously. 7 years. Various long overdue bug fixes for Creepside. Free-to-play premium Entmore's Pass will likely be time-based, but not make it into U13. And they're looking into auto flip issue, which was intended to take place every 6 to 8 hours. They recognize most players seem to want them to be completely removed, however, because right now they seem to be happening quite quickly, if I recall.
Oh yeah, so many Fellowship of the Creeps sessions like TA flipping every 5 minutes.
Right,
Yeah.
right after we take it. We take it, and 5 minutes later it flips, yes. All right, and that is it for the developer content. So let's go into the store sales. And the free sample for this week is a 100% XP boost for 1 hour. And you could use coupon code PXP12. And there will also be 25% off of the following items: writing traits, premium wallet upgrade, experience disabler, rejuvenation potions, universal morale and power potions, and relic packs. Anyone have a favorite?
The first two. I actually bought the first one because I hadn't had it for ages, and Andang was taunting me with it.
Ha!
But yes, the premium wallet I would consider just get it as soon as you can, as long as you're not, getting it over character development stuff.
Right, yes. And the experience disabler is something that is, I will say, only for special occasions would be my type of thing on saying it's certain types of characters. For example, the ones that I'm doing on some of my YouTube series is I use the experience disabler for because I want to keep my character at a certain level. But usually, yes, that's one I think would be avoided if you actually want to level your character as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people who group play together, they use the experience disabler as well to stay on level at the same time.
Yes, that's another excellent use for it. You're right, because especially if you've got some people in there who are VIP, some who aren't, then you'd want to be able to control the levels of everybody.
Yeah, that's handy if you feel you're leveling too quickly. So if you want to experience the Fulva zone on level, you can just equip it, take it out when you want to level again, and manage it that way.
Right. Now let's go to the website news. And the first item is the expansion quad pack giveaway, which Ending should tell us about.
Well, I will then. So, we actually have only a few more days to have this contest open still because it closes March 5th. Entries close at an undisclosed time on March 5th, basically when I get around to doing it. And entries will be closed at that point, and I usually put in the chat that entries are closed, and then I send out, and then I go to random.com, find out which one is the winner by assigning a random number to each user, and then figuring out who the winner is. So there are like over 300 entries into this thing, but that's still fairly good odds as far as getting stuff for free. So there's no reason, especially when all you have to do is leave a comment, not to just leave a comment on the expansion quad pack giveaway article, which you can find a link to in the show notes of this episode.
All right,
So
and
go there, enter, have fun.
Who's eligible for this?
Everyone but LOTRO players, past or current staff.
Aww.
Oh, good, because I have an identical twin brother who might want one.
And I think it says something about extended family as well in there, but anyway.
Great.
Very well. We also have LOTRO Players Adventures Episode 4 came out. Anyone have any comments on that?
Well, we didn't fail that episode.
Well, yes.
That's because we actually had Cascabel with us, which was a lot of fun.
Yes, we had Casquall with us, and we didn't have someone completely incompetent leading one of the parties.
And making it be 3 levels higher than it needed to be. Causing Mitz to die again, and again, and again, and again.
Oh, she loves it.
You're just feeding her, finally. You're just giving her more fuel for the fire.
More fuel for the fire, yes. Very well. Next we have the return of Small LOTRO Adventures with Lizzie and Lily Kate. I guess, Lizzie, you know something about that.
I do indeed. And you called me Lizzie.
She's not on the line with you?
Hey, Lily Kate, you might want to get used to that.
We might wake her up. Yeah, no.
Who's gonna be the next one to get messed up by you, Piney? Like, really, you messed up Brax's name, and now Lily Kate's. Come on.
Yeah, but it just made me part of the family now. Okay. So, yeah, I posted a thank you to all people that have donated to LOTRO Players since I have been offline with LOTRO Players Adventures. Small LOTRO Adventures, excuse me, all these adventures. And it's late. So, yeah, I posted a thank you. It was a recording of my favourite tune of the week week, which is called A Song for Durin, which I think was either composed or at least transcribed by Astley of the Lonely Mountain Band. And that was just the thank you and to get into the swing of making the videos again. And then Lizzie came back with fighting some shrews and saying smelly welly or something like that in a video about shrews. Yeah, she's really rusty. And of course, we had the headset, so we had to do the little headset dance where we took it off one of us and put it on the other one. So that was quite amusing for us.
I thought it was very funny that she never switched to the skill bar that had her actual attacks on it.
She wasn't using, because at the moment we've got all her emotes up because we still haven't done our emote session with Tromblon yet, so she's still actually got all her emotes on her bars and she hasn't got any attack.
I had thought that she had an alternate bar for all those emotes, since you have two bars that you can switch.
No, what I was doing is she was just running around, and I was actually clicking on the icons to take care of the shrews. But yeah, I need to reset those icons so that she's got on a quick slots the attack ones. She wants to run pies next, so I don't think I really need to rush about that. So yeah, she had a lot of fun making them, and yeah, I hope that we can keep making them at least one a week, if not one a fortnight. And Lizzie seems to enjoy it, so look forward to a lot more Lizzie in future.
And also returning this week is LOTRO Academy for episode 89, where we had our New Year's special for goals for 2014. Yes, I know it's a late New Year's special.
So Pineleaf, at the time of recording, had anyone already completed their goals for 2014?
No.
Well, why not? You guys you could have made a great episode where you're like, I already completed this goal this year, and that's my goal.
We had to make them ambitious.
His goal. Finally, didn't you complete your goal?
I completed my goals from the last year.
That was amazing, by the way. Why don't you go ahead and share what your goal last year was?
Well, my goal. Okay, my goal last year was to get one character of each class to level 85.
And how many did you get to 85?
12.
Raising it. Crazy talk.
Now, Pineleaf, there are only 9 classes, right?
Yeah. Well, there are a few extra wards thrown in.
Oh, of course.
Of course.
Just
as you
for
do.
good measure.
Yeah, a few extra wards for good measure. All right. Very well. Next, we then have LOTRO video highlights for 5 years in Middle Earth.
That's right, Pineleaf. And I figured when Aaron was he brought up the whole 7th year anniversaries coming up, and so I figured what better time to bring back the 5th year anniversary video where they actually go in depth talking about some of their trials and tribulations at each of the various steps. Like the fact that they weren't going to include Tom Bombadil. Oh no! Yeah, I know, Tom. It's okay. But anyway, it was terrible, and so thankfully they included Tom into the game because I would not be able to do his voice all the time. Huh?
Because Tom's master, you can't leave him out.
Exactly, you can't leave Tom out.
Very well.
Don't tell that to Peter Jackson.
It's a tradition to leave him out of movies.
So it seems.
Speaking of crowbars, I'm sorry, Pineleaf, can I just interrupt you there? I did actually want to... did want to mention to everybody who has an event that's player run that if they want it included in the community events post that I post on the Sunday, just to send me an email or a tweet. What is it called? A tweet? A twit?
A tweet.
Either one. One's Leonor's word, one's ours. It's okay.
And are there any interesting items coming up for this week?
Indeed, there is quite a few. We've got a Rock and Hard Place on Friday. That's at 4 p.m. EST over on Dwaradelph, and they play at the Westgate in Bree. They play on the wall. And then, of course, we do have a Starlight Orchestra rehearsal coming up on Saturday if anybody wants to pop by the metal stage at 2 p.m. in the afternoon EST time and come and have a listen to hopefully more than 15 players, because I've got my fingers crossed. I want to get 20, so if you're interested in playing in the full raid orchestra, also come and tweet at me or send me an email. And anybody else that has a player run event. Today we had the carnival ride, that was a great success. And also lots of bands I've been running around and getting their pictures to actually make the post more attractive. So Ales and Tales tomorrow at Dwilland. So it's not tomorrow, it's Monday. I'm sorry, it's so late, my brain's not functioning.
Well, it is tomorrow for you.
It certainly is, and then
Yeah.
some. Yeah, sorry for interrupting, but yeah, I had to crowbar that in somewhere, just like the old man of Andangs. Come on, where is he?
I don't know what you're talking about, though. Okay, he's not
Yeah.
around here anyway. Wait, let
Oh,
me.
we
Nope.
lost him.
No, he's not in here. Never mind.
He's not in here. All right, very well.
Shucks.
Then we'll head into Brax's pick of the week.
Let me out of here. Be quiet, old man.
Maybe the old guy has a pick.
No, I don't. That was Tom Bombadil.
We got
What
two
is going
Toms.
on over here?
So there was a very interesting post this week. It was more on general gaming, but it was just so intriguing. I thought I'd try and slip it in as a pick of the week here, but I don't want to. It was very academic, and basically it was called "The Call of Duty of Care: Social Responsibility in the Video Game Industry," and it was making some comparisons with between MMOs and the online gambling industry, and asking questions like where does the or what level of responsibility do the game companies have in making sure that people who have addictive qualities or are people who are more drawn to these games with addictive qualities because of their genetic makeup or whatever, make sure that the games aren't so addictive that it causes actual physical health problems for these people. And it's kind of an academic paper. Like I said, it's fairly in-depth, but I thought it was a really good read, and it was something that I had never thought about before, especially since MMOs are typically designed to be addictive. They want you to be spending time in their world, but they do have kind of a tightrope to walk. The article actually pointed out that there are a couple games, World of Warcraft and I think one of the Final Fantasy games, has added a splash screen somewhere within the game that says something to the effect of make sure you spend time with your real life friends too, and stuff like that, just to remind people that there's more than just this online world, that yeah, we've created it for you, but make sure that you're more of a well-rounded individual than somebody who just spends 60, 70 hours at a time playing this game. And then to bring that back to LOTRO, I was just wondering, because some of the recommendations that this guy made to maybe make games less addictive for people who have problems is to simplify things and make goals more easily attainable. And that kind of struck me as this is something we've talked about within LOTRO within the last year or so, the simplification of the game, making it more accessible for people. And I started wondering, I wonder if this is also something that was taken into consideration when those design changes were being made. Something that we don't want to have to deal with somebody coming at us with a lawsuit because so-and-so who had addictive issues did something to the point that their health was degraded, and now their quality of life is gone or something like that. So just thought it was really interesting. I would recommend a quick read-through, even though it's probably tough to quickly read through it because it is a little in-depth. It's not very long. It's just kind of academic. So give that a read and let your brain fly on that one a little bit.
Awesome.
Fly out the window.
All right. Yeah, very well then. After many of our episodes of LOTRO Players News, we have discussions about speculations of LOTRO's future, covering various topics of things to come. We also look back at the past, debating if certain decisions were the wisest ones. From these discussions, we now formed a new section to LOTRO Players News called Question of the Week. And now it's time for our first question of the week. And what order will players enter and travel through Gondor and the lands beyond? Like the Paths of the Dead Marshes? Where?
Yeah, real quick though. This new section is the question of the week. We have really in-depth discussions of speculation moving forward after the show ends, and so we thought it'd be good to include this section here. So there you go.
Very well.
So, I did want to mention real quick. If you guys want to see this continue, just email us in, let us know, and we'll keep doing the questions of the week.
All right then. Brax, what's your opinion on this matter?
Well, they've already talked, I think, about using the Paths of the Dead this year, and I really think that that's the way we're going to go into Gondor. I'm looking at the map right now, and the West Fold and the East Fold, Edoras is just too close to Gondor. Those areas that we already have developed, and I just think that that would make the most logical sense as the first way to get to Gondor.
All right, very well. Then how about Draculeta?
Or maybe not Draculeta.
Oh, maybe not Draculeta.
Yeah, now I can talk since I unmuted myself. Sorry about that. I think they're going to follow the books as close as they can. Basically, if you remember from the books, they go through the Pass of the Dead, and then they come out through the Mothond Vale, and then they go up to the Stone of Iraq, and then they go down the hill there, and that's when they go into Gondor.
All right, very well. And what about Ethros?
Well, they've said we'll be getting both Pass of the Dead and the Dead Marshes this year. I'm not sure, exactly when each one will come, but I think either one is kind of viable. Pass of the Dead brings us to a more obscure part of Gondor that most people don't actually know much about, and it's further away from the action. I think the only thing you'd see around there is the Corsair raids. If we're doing if you take the other options of going, say, Past the Dead, then back down through Anorian straight to Minas Tirith and Pelennor Fields on Osgiliath, you go straight into where the action is, and it seems a bit quicker to do.
Right.
More direct.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can all agree that we're not going to see all of Gondor. Because it's just, there's so many areas that there's just nothing there. I mean, Gondor is massive. You think Rohan's big, but it's nothing compared to Gondor. And
Like 2-3 times the size.
yeah, and I don't think that they're going to have, 6 expansions for Gondor alone. That would be just ridiculous. And so, I mean, it's tough to decide which way we're going to go in, though. I kind of want to go towards Dead Marshes as the way that we will get to Minas Tirith. That path, I think, will be through the Dead Marshes. And
All
so,
right.
assuming that that's where we're... And so I think that we're actually going to enter Paths of the Dead first, and then backtrack, go to Dead Marshes, go quickly to Minas Tirith.
So do you think Paths of the Dead is going to be a session play, or do we actually go
Well,
in there?
that's... I think that we'll go in there somewhat, because they kind of made it sound like the fourth big, somewhat big content update. There's the closing of Volume 3 with that quest area of Fangorn and Flooded Isengard. Then there's Paths of the Dead, there's Dead Marshes, and then there's Gondor, one for each quarter. So I would think
Yeah.
that Paths of the Dead would be somewhat decently sized.
Well, they did say our first steps in the Gondor, so we don't know how much in. So actually, my opinion is that we've already done our first steps in the Gondor because technically
Well,
the Falls of
technically.
Rorrar, sir.
Yeah, but it's not really. I don't think I would count it as.
Okay, it's uninhabited Gondor, but
It's still too close to the other areas around it to really be Gondor, I think.
all right.
Even though it is technically, but
Okay.
we didn't go to Minas Tirith.
Right. Yes, Lily.
So, yeah.
Oh, just off the top of my head, I would like to actually experience all 3 routes. My favourite would be to follow the Rohirrim as I through those paths and the hills. But how about something really left of centre and going to raise Mol Amroth? They could crowbar that into the
Well, if we go to Dol Amroth, then that means going through the
Dol.
paths of the dead.
That's a
Yeah,
quick way
going
of
to
doing it,
visit
yeah.
Prince Imrahil. I think that would be cool as an idea. Oh, they probably will never do that, but if I had to choose between the paths and the marshes, I'd probably go with the marshes.
Mm. All right. What do you think, Pineleaf?
That's an interesting thing because if we went through the marshes, then the place we'd be going to would be to Ithilien.
So we might
And
enter. You think we might enter Gondor that way?
well, if we go through the paths through the dead marshes, then we have to go through Ithilien in order to get to Gondor. That's the because otherwise it's completely out of the way. In fact, the dead marshes aren't exactly on the path to Gondor. The
No, they're not, but they're still closer than most of what we have.
well, yes,
So.
you do have a point with that. The paths of the dead. I don't know. The one that I've always wondered was interesting what they would do with Dol Amroth. So I am going to go with that.
Yeah.
Them
All
as
right.
through the paths of the dead to Dol Amroth.
Yeah. All right. So then, once we get into Gondor, um, let's say once we get closer to Minas Tirith, how do you think that's going to work? Is it going to be like Rohan, where we arrive at Edoras in like a preview thing, then we arrive at Edoras to evacuate it, then we, have the battle at Helm's Deep way later on down the line. Minas Tirith's kind of like the, city in one, but it's still, we arrived at Helm's Deep a little bit early and explored a little bit. Do you think that we'll arrive at Minas Tirith and then leave to go do a sizable amount of content before the battle takes place?
Well, first off, when was Minas Tirith evacuated? Because I think
Well,
it was well evacuated before Pippin arrived.
Yeah, before Pippin arrived.
Yeah, that's true.
I'd like to see some Osgiliath content. That would be fun.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance of if we do that same method of go to the main capitals and then go off, we might do some content in the city and then they'll send us off to Osgiliath to help out with that stuff.
Yeah,
I
Osgiliath
would
is a
imagine
logical
you'd
place.
have to have, let's say we do the evacuation, that takes time. Then we do the whole part when Gandalf and them get there, that takes time. And then you have the battle a lot after that in the timeline, so.
Yeah, I don't know that we're necessarily going to these first steps into Gondor. I'm going to put quotes around that because that's what they said in the letter. I don't know that we're necessarily going to take a path towards Minas Tirith via these first steps into Gondor. It may just be like an Eves of Fangorn thing where we do a little bit there and then pull back out and circle back around.
That would be interesting.
There is a big stretch of Gondor east of the Eastfold, that Anorian, I believe it's called, with the beacons and all that stuff. We might have like that zone as being Gondor, where we have the Gondor NPCs and they have their own problems and stuff, and that'll be that bit of Gondor. Then we move on to Minas Tirith in a future update. That's one possibility I see.
Okay, how inhabited is Arnorian? Anyone remember that?
I have no idea. But they've put people in places they shouldn't be before, so.
You've got a point there.
Musclegut from the chat says he thinks that Dead Marshes then down the east side of the Anduin, basically mirroring the route Frodo, Sam, and Gollum took. Maybe even countering Faramir and coming across at Osgiliath.
Okay, that'll be Ithilien then, and that would be running into Oliphants.
Indeed, that would be.
Let's do that. Yeah, let's do that.
All right, so Brax is now the new Chris. Instead of wanting, whatever Chris wanted, he now wants.
I want a war Oliphant.
Oliphant, yes.
All right.
Oliphant steeds.
So yeah, Oliphants are definitely the new int play. Oh.
I told you to play. I told you so.
So yeah. WRFRK. There's no vowel in that, so I'm not going to try to pronounce it.
That's
he
Krell,
says,
I believe.
Which is Corral,
Okay.
yeah.
He says later in the year we'll be seeing more iconic locales and moments from the lore, including the Paths of the Dead and Dead Marshes. We'll also take our first steps in the Gondor. I'm assuming that's the quote from
That's
the
from
devs.
Kate. That's from
Right.
Kate's producers there.
So it says we will also take our first steps in the Gondor. Meaning that there will be, that Gondor zone, and presumably, we would, assuming they're following somewhat what they've done in the past, that you would follow the path from, wherever you're coming from. So that would mean either Paths of the Dead Marshes, I would think, or maybe Pine Leaf was right and they'll come in some other way.
Well, actually, when I said Dol Amroth, I was Dol Amroth. In order to get there, you have to go through the Paths
Right,
of the
yeah.
Dead. And the other thing I was saying was with Ithilien is going through the Dead Marshes. So
Right, but here's the thing: is they, those both are not geographically close to each other, so that's going to be a lot of traveling around, kind of like
right,
the
yeah, you
start
got a
of
point. Yes.
the start of Rohan, where we went down to Isengard and then we went all the way on the other side of the world to go down through Rohan that way. So it'll be interesting to see how we start chipping away at the landmass that is Gondor.
All right. Any other opinions on this matter before we move on?
War elephants for the win.
That's the conclusion.
That is the conclusion. All right, let's go into donations for this week because we do have two of them. We received a $5 or more donation from Carolyn. Fantastic podcast. I look forward to listening to the next one. Please come to our carnival ride on Saturday, March 1st, which is already passed. And also, we have the Solve a Mystery Roleplay event on Saturday, March 15th at 4 p.m. And that, of course, will be server time, which is U.S. Eastern Time, and those are on Landreval. Since the carnival has already been held, we will have the Solve a Mystery, though, is in 2 weeks. And we also have a big thanks to Brittany for a $10 or more donation to LOTRO Players. And apparently she didn't leave a message?
Nope, she didn't.
She did. All right. If you wish to help LOTRO Players, simply go to the donations page where you can help support the podcast of LOTRO Players and also help support the site. We have $5 and $10 mentions where you can donate and get a mention on one or all of our active podcasts. Or for a $5 mention, you get a mention on the podcast of your choice. For a $10 or more mention, you get a mention on all of our active podcasts. As for reviews this week, we did not receive any, but we do have some featured comments. First from Carolyn. Lily, could you read hers?
Lily has left the building.
Oh, she has.
And so has Lizzie.
Okay. Very well. Well, yes, they're on the same microphone, so I guess that's natural. Very well. Draculetta, could you please read Carolyn's?
Yeah, she says, thank you for mentioning the Windy Acres Ranch events. As of the Shadowfax Sprint on Saturday, we have hosted 50 events. Many thanks to our volunteers and to the community for their support.
That's quite a number of events.
Congratulations, that's awesome.
And I'm sure by now you are not surprised that Sue left another item on there.
Well, you read it, Pine Leaf.
All right, let's go. Oh, yes, it's LOTRO Players and the feeling's right. Oh, yes, it's ladies' night. Oh, what a night. Oh, what a night. LOTRO Players is so cosmopolitan. Transylvania, Wales, wherever, and presumable pine leaves from the forest. And the ladies, Roman lilies, Queensland mysteries, and Danish white berries.
No endings, though.
Yes. I don't want to become a poetry troll, so I contemplated just saying thanks for another show, but Ethro stepped up and his lack of understanding encouraged me to try again. Sorry if he takes a starring role in the No Offense Meant, had to check Blackadder Gobbledygook, a misspelled lion. Final question is, how do you say Lord of the Rings in Welsh?
Why don't you tell him? Pine Leaf?
That would be Etheros to answer since there was a question to Etheros.
Go ahead, Pineleaf. No. I think you should take this one.
Right. All right, let's try it. Arglid Eve Kilodi.
That sounded just like his orc impression.
It did.
Etheros, do you have a better version of that?
I can take a whack at it. It's Argloid a Colchoid.
Argloid, it's Clothoid.
That's better than most people's.
Very well. And
Thank you,
therefore,
Thoros, for doing that. That's awesome that you looked that up for us.
Yeah,
yes.
Google Translate is great.
He also decided to send us a poem with a little bit of Welsh in it just to celebrate today, which is St. David's Day. Well, it is at least still in the United States because it's not March 2nd yet. So therefore, here we go. Up and under, here we go. Are you ready? Yes or no? Descendants of Panthardulius, half Welsh me is, Ethros in Wales he is, not understanding. Dylan Thomas, best wordsmith, from the valleys, leak in hand, brains another, dragon a flapping. My plight clume, yet allo real clumiot, gestaf. Not a Welsh speaker myself, thanks my pa. Poor no slot, twaggly LOTRO. Up and under, here we go. Another silly poem for the LOTRO players who want to grow.
Awesome.
Oh my god.
Alright, now let's have Atheros actually read the Welsh, unlike whatever Pineleaf did. So,
do you want just the Welsh part?
just read the whole thing just so it's context.
Oh god. God.
This is the first time anyone is reading this that's not Pineleaf, I must mention, anytime anyone's ever read a poem other than Pineleaf.
Yep. Okay. Up and under, here we go. Are you ready? Yes or no? Descendant of Panthodili, half Welsh me is. Etheros in Wales, he is not understanding. Dylan Thomas, best wordsmith, from the valleys. Leak in one hand, brains in other. Dragon a flapping. Applied Cymru and other Roy Cymru and Gyntaf. Not a Welsh speaker myself, thanks to my pa. Boredar and Ostar, Quacaraire, Lotro. Up and under, here we go. Another silly poem for the Lotro players, front row.
Wow, that
And
was awesome.
I would be lynched if my Welsh teacher heard me say that.
That was pretty cool, though. That was neat.
Just hope your Welsh teacher isn't a LOTRO fan then.
No, she just would kill me because I butchered that pronunciation.
All right. Well, Lily Kate's not here to read her comment on episode 35. Oh, now I'm jealous. Where is my poem in a soft London accent? And Unexpected Vidcast also left a comment on episode 35. There were a lot of comments from people.
There were. It was a good episode.
Yes, great show, guys and gals. You all seem to have more and more fun each week.
Everybody likes Ladies' Night.
Yep.
This week's pretty evident as well.
Oh, Lily Kate pops back in for her soft London accent.
Conveniently after her comment was read.
Yes.
Missed out on my saying the poem. How sad.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Well, maybe she's not completely in.
Well, she's probably muted in the top.
Well, there's also that possibility. Very well. Let's go into our emails, and we have one from Amandos, and we will have Andang read that.
Hey guys, thanks so much for doing the podcast. You make the commute home so much more bearable. This is the first time my friend and I have played LOTRO, and we are wanting to hit level 95 as soon as we can. We start off questing, but we found that running skirmishes was a much quicker way to level up. Oh my gosh, right now with an XP boost, we went from 63 to 65 in about an hour. Why didn't Pineleaf tell us about? Okay, so that's parts not written. But anyway, are there any downsides to leveling through skirmishes all the way to 95? Does the experience start to slow down at any point? Thanks, Armandas of Melindor.
Could you make that have
Mondas.
been more dramatic?
No, not at all. There's no way.
All right.
Take it away,
Does the-
Pineleaf. It's your
Yes.
question.
Yes, does the experience start to slow down at any point? Not really, especially if you're doing on duos, you can get through them pretty fast. The biggest problem are completing certain things like quests within areas, getting credit for those, accumulating the virtues. So developing your character on the side with virtues and the like is going to be the biggest minus of using skirmishes in order to level up. And also, of course, things like rep and stuff like that if you care about it.
Yeah, and like missing the story, but
And
which
missing
is
the story.
the whole
Yes.
point of LOTRO, in my
Minor little
opinion. But
detail there. And of course, when you're at 63 to 65, for example, you should be in Mirkwood because when you're in Mirkwood, you unlock a lot of new skirmishes, so you have more variety
Exactly.
for them.
And also, once you get to Dunland and places like that, the quests really start to be high-quality side quests as well. So I recommend starting that kind of stuff in Dunland, and then definitely in Rohan. Do a lot of the side quests there. It's really good.
And 65 is when you start to do Dunland.
Mm-hmm.
There you can contact us at lotroplayers.mymiddleearth@gmail.com, and you can also follow us on Twitter. Lotroplayers @lotroplayers, Andang @pvmp_andang, Braxwolf @braxwolf, Draculetta @Draculetta_72, Etheros @Etheros, Lily Kate @LilyKateBuggins, Mystery @MysteryXOX, and that's an I, not a Y in mystery. And Pineleaf @Pineleaf Needles, and I'm definitely not the Welsh master of the Earth.
And play. I told you so.
But said Ed play that time.
At Almazar.
Right.
You can follow Chris at Almazard.
Since he was on the
Please do,
show
'cause
tonight.
he's awesome. He was on the show more than he wanted to be, probably.
Yes. And you can join us live. You can join us for LOTRO Players Adventures, which goes live every Saturday at 5 p.m. server time. And you can join us for LOTRO Players News, which goes live every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. server time. And that is U.S. Eastern Time. And you can join us by going to lotroplayers.com/live. And be sure to join us in the YouTube chat. Therefore, that is all for tonight, and until next time, this is Pineleaf Needles, reminding you to skirmish responsibly.
Heal Pineleaf. And Mist, she died a lot. Heal her.